sorry. I know a lot of you guys were really hoping. Hold on a second. I know a lot of you guys were really hoping that this was going to be a reaction, but as soon as the album dropped, I couldn't withhold my excitement, man. You gotta understand, me being a Rick Ross avid listener since I was roaming the halls of Homestead Senior High, you know, with a Sony Walkman. It was an orange one, and I had that disc spinning. And I remember listening to White House. Let me think back to '96. When Booby had the realest feeling like a bitch. Y'all gotta understand, man, that this album right here just really hit me home, man. No pun intended, because I am from Miami. It really hit me home, and I just had to listen to it on my own time. So I have a lot to say, so please stick around for the review. First thing I want to speak on, man, the album cover. I thought the album cover was really iconic. Obviously, if you're a Ross fan, we all know what Port of Miami did for him in his rap career. It was the birth of Rick Ross. And just how legendary that album was in itself, while it may have not done diamond numbers, it's still one of the best albums in hip-hop in terms of a top 100. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a top 25, but in terms of top 100, it is staple in hip-hop and will always be there. I mean, if you look at the old cover, he's facing this way. And, you know, he has the Carol City Triple C's on his medallion. If y'all don't know what Triple C stand for, Carol City Cartel. That's the gang he used to rep back in the day with Gunplay, who also makes an appearance on this album. And, you know, it kind of just shows where Ross was back in the day. I also loved his growth. I want to speak on that as well. But it also shows where Ross was back in the day. You know, just a up-and-coming hustler, having a song called Hustlin', but up-and-coming hustler, just trying to get it, you know, trying to make it in this music shit. Him previously working as a correctional officer, and, you know, that's how he got Officer Ricky. You know, they remember that whole debacle back in the day, so he got that. And then, you know, becoming the big prominent rapper we know from Miami, who has iconic ad-libs such as, oh, and woo! We all know about that. But now you get into this Port of Miami 2, 13 years later, because I believe Port of Miami came out in 06. That's when I was in sophomore year of high school, 06, yeah, 06 or 05. But, you know, he releases Port of Miami 13 years later, and having Black Bo on his medallion this time around, you know, paying homage to that. You know, Black Bo passed away 2 years ago in Rick Ross's home, his previous manager. So I know that took a toll for Rick Ross. And, you know, he kind of just wanted to make this album to, you know, pay respects to his old friend. For me, man, if you want to be honest, if we're keeping it real, the album was pretty standard for a Ross project. I feel like the album isn't bad, but for me and the expectations and the hype of Port of Miami 2, you know, it just really, for me, didn't really live up to that hype. Not saying it's a bad album. It didn't live up to the Port of Miami. That makes sense. If you guys know what I'm talking about, that listen to Port of Miami, man. Because from start to finish, man, Port of Miami, at least to me, is a masterpiece. From start to finish, the features are crazy. The beat selection, just the way he went in each track, you know, went in a different direction. It wasn't too much. It wasn't overwhelming. It was just kind of one of those albums you just play and you ride around to. As Ross's career has developed, you can hear the differences in his sound, especially adopting the new boss music, if you want to call it. I feel like this album right here, which I expected it to be a lot of reflection from Rick Ross. You know, he's gone through a lot in the last 3 to 4 years. If you even listen to tracks from like Hood Billionaire, where he had Family Ties, that was a track where it was really, you know, reflective, really a self-awareness from Rick Ross. Also from his last album, Rather You Than Me, if you listen to the intro track, which was Apple of My Seed, that's another track where Ross is kind of just realizing what life is about. His life is just starting to blossom. He's starting to realize that he's not the man that he once was. It's not about all the money anymore, even though he still from time to time talks about the flashy life. I get it. You know, you're gonna flaunt, you're gonna flex, I get that. But he's just realizing now that there's more life than that, because in the last, you know, 4 to 5 years, he's had a couple scary life events that's happened, you know, to him and also to his surrounding family and friends. So a lot of the reflection in this album you can hear in tracks such as Gold Roses, Vegas Residency, Running the Streets, who actually I thought that, you know, with his choice of feature with A Boogie, even though I'm not really a fan of A Boogie, I thought that A Boogie fit that description really nice. Added that kind of emotion to the chorus and whatnot. I really enjoyed that track right there. Also, I Still Pray and you know, Bogus Charms with Meek Mill. That's one thing also I wanted to talk about, man. I love that he had the old double MG. If you guys, man, I remember one time we thought that was gonna be the next big thing up. It's what put Meek on the map. I feel like it was the demise of Wale though. Wale was doing just fine before he joined MMG, and that kind of just, you know, altered his mindset and just where he wanted to go with rap, and ultimately, you know, just really just clouded his vision. So with Meek Mill, man, brought him the buzz. You know, just seeing them both on the album. Not on the same track, though, but on the album. It just gave it that double MG flow. I just remember back in, what, 2000? It was 2012, I believe. Yeah, 2012, I believe, 2011. Don't quote me on that. That they, you know, they had that run going on. And, you know, all those fucking tracks were just fire. The production was fire. A lot of upbeat from Rick Ross and the gang. I love that shit. Also having, you know, paying homage to the hometown. Having upcoming artists such as Denzel Curry on the track. Denzel Curry has featured Ross in both of his previous albums, and, you know, showing Gunplay a little bit of love. You know, Rick Ross, remember where he's come from. You can even hear it in Turnpike Ike. You know, kind of just, you know, it was that shit right there. Like I said, Rick Ross makes a lot of music that makes you feel broke as fuck. He makes a lot of boss music. So when he was telling this chick, what else I'ma do? We gonna get 40 cars. I believe Rick Ross has like $1 million, not $1 million, freaking what, 20 to 40 bed house. Or is it 100? It's something ridiculous out of this world. It's just like, why the fuck do you even need that many rooms? I don't really understand Rick Ross, but, you know, boss shit, do what you do. I'm broke as fuck. You rich as hell. You do what you do. Turnpike Ike was really just, you know, Rick Ross in his bag, literally. Just talking, you know, talking his shit. Kind of just letting you guys know, you know, bringing back that Port of Miami feel. I feel like that was one of the tracks that really brought me back listening to Port of Miami, because like I said, it's a different direction for Rick Ross. He's going to give us a new sound. It's either going to be a hype track such as MC Hammer, or it's going to be some boss shit like, I'm trying to think what was the last boss track that, Amsterdam. Amsterdam was a boss track I remember clearly from Rick Ross. I also loved how he used a lot of old school samples in here. If you listen to Summer Rain, with Summer Walker at SWV, I feel like, you know, I enjoyed me some Summer Walker, but that track really didn't hit me as well as the White Lines featuring Dej Loaf. Those are the two tracks back to back that, while yes, I do love my fair share of old school samples, that one really just wasn't resonating to me, at least. I Still Pray is probably one of my top 3 tracks though on here, because that was one of the tracks where he really went old school with it. I could definitely hear some Isley Brothers, the da 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 da. You know, you hear that shit right there, and it's instant. You know, I don't know if y'all listen to Isley Brothers, but you hear that. You hear when he hits the little da 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 da. You know, you that shit be hitting your soul. And having just Ball Greasy on there and YFN Lucci, man. I know a lot of y'all wanted me to listen to YFN. I listen to a couple YFN, you know, and I'm definitely, you know, him being a hood nigga, him being a trap artist, I get it. I mean, that was a perfect sound in Port of Miami, because that's exactly what Port of Miami was about. It was about the hustle. It was about the hood life. It was just about being not really a boss, but it was just being a up and coming grinder. You know what I'm saying? And then Ball Greasy, if y'all guys don't know who Ball Greasy is, man, Miami legend, man. He has a song called Well, the Nice and Slow. That's that song right there. He also made Shones. Shones is very legendary in Miami. If you don't know what a Shone is, it is a whore, hoe, slut, chicken head, skeezer, whatever you want to label him as. Just a thought. That's exactly what a Shone is. So there's one thing I am disappointed in this album, and that is the fact that he took off Pusha T for obvious reasons. Maybach Music 6. You know, he always has to include a Maybach Music in this album and any album that he does. And having Lil Wayne on here was amazing, because we remember Lil Wayne and Kanye on the most fire one. I believe that was Maybach Music 2. That was with T-Pain, or maybe it might have been 3. Damn, there's so many of them, I just can't really think about it. I know 4 was one of my favorites too, because that was the ball setting one. Anyways, he gets on Maybach Music 6, and we come to find out that Pusha T was supposed to be included on this, and we heard the verse on Twitter, which was a fire verse. I probably thought it was the best verse on the album. I feel like he just overtook that song and just took it away at the end verse. But then having Drake on the next album, we know the Pusha and Drake beef, and we know Rick Ross doesn't really want to deal with that. So I think it was just kind of just a respect move on that part, but kind of just, you know, throwing Pusha T to the side, which I felt that was really bad. Gold Roses we already heard. We know that anytime Drake and Rick Ross collab on a track, is usually going to be fire, and that run right there didn't disappoint. It was fire as hell. There's only 3 tracks on here that I really didn't like, which was You know, Summer Rain, White Lines. I'm trying to figure out what's another track that I really. Oh, and Born to Kill. I did not like the Jeezy track, which was also a disappointment because Jeezy and Ross last time they made a track was super fire. I just don't understand how you miss really on that. I felt like they should have just stuck to a trap sound. The Nipsey Hussle I really don't want to bring in because I mean, look, it's paying tribute to Nipsey. That was probably already previously recorded, and if it wasn't, if he added him on there, he's just paying his respects because Nipsey was a real one in the game. I don't know, man. I understand. Like I said, it's very standard for Ross. You know, it was a good sounding album. I just felt like it just didn't live up to the expectations, and there was really high expectations. It's just crazy because when you really think about it, Port of Miami is where he started. So I felt like, you know, as Rick Ross continues to make music, he's getting old, man. Like it's going to end soon, and it's getting to that point now where it's about to end, and we're about to, you know, one of the greats are about to leave us in hip hop. So I felt like Port of Miami 2, you know, while it was just the ending of an era, I felt like he should have just really just, you know, pounded us with it and took his time and gave us his best work. Because like I said, a lot of the tracks on here are on my playlist. If you guys want to know, if you guys want my playlist, donate Apple Music, Patreon, Spotify, you get all that shit on there. Go ahead, hit that Patreon. But, you know, when we get tracks like, you know, Turnpike Ike make my playlist. We get Big Time, you know, that's the MC Hammer track of this album. We get that on my playlist. We got the Fascinated, I Still Pray, Run the Streets, Vegas Residency, you know what I'm saying, Gold Roses. A lot of these tracks made my playlist. It's just, it had a different feeling. It didn't give me that, that, you know, you gotta hold your breath. You're like, oh, it's that Ross. It really just didn't give me that feeling, and that right there is what was just disappointing about it, because now this is Port of Miami 2. This is the end. But I appreciate Ross for who he is as a person, because he's definitely changed, man. The man he speaks what he was speaking back then. He spoke that into existence. He did everything he was supposed to do. Even before, when he was, you know, like, would he rather be broke or whether he rather work for the corrections officer? Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, people expected him. He wasn't a thug. He was a snitch, bro. He was trying to get money. He was trying to pay for his family. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was trying to, the way he was supposed to not make money. He worked for the CO. All right, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that ain't really the feds. All right, that's, you just out there, just, you know, just sitting there, just watching people. Like, that's all you really do. My homegirl works for that. So I felt like, man, Rick Ross, man, just the reflection that he had in here, just the life lessons, you know, just him being a boss, everything kind of just exuded on this album, man. And while I am a bit disappointed that it didn't live up to the hype, it's still another great album from Ross, and he continues his reign on hip-hop. I feel like Rick Ross doesn't have a bad album. A lot of, like, you guys like to say that Hood Billionaire was a bad album, which I don't agree with at all. I feel like Hood Billionaire did exactly what it was supposed to be. He was a hood billionaire, and he had a lot of bangers on that, and including my favorite track, Family Ties, on there. So, man, get in the comment box below, man. Let me know what's your favorite track from this album. Let me know how you feel about the album. Let me know if you lived up to its expectations. Let me know what you think about what my worst tracks were, and what was your best tracks. I want to hear it. Top 3 in the comment box below. And again, man, I'm sorry that I couldn't do a reaction to it. A lot of music came out. Unfortunately, I did the Blueface. It was quick listens. It was a quick video, so I did that. And I listened to Rick Ross on my own time, no stress. I kind of just had fun, because at the end of the day, man, if I'm not having fun with this, I'm not really enjoying the experience, and it'll show on video. So I kind of just wanted to enjoy this one by myself. So, man, get in the comment box below, man. Let me know how you feel about that. Don't forget, follow me on social media. Let me know what you want to hear. Get the video to 3,000 likes. Every time you get 3,000 likes, I put a new vinyl on the wall. I still ain't got no goddamn vinyls. God, bro, I done fell off. I'm trash now. But it's okay, man. I'm trash with some supporters. I'm cool with that, man. Don't forget, man, follow me on social medias. Let me know what you want to hear. Till the next time, man, another review. I'm trying to get to all the albums as fast as I can, so bear with me. Till the next time, man, we out. This is your boy, Dev. Peace.